Okay, everybody, in this video I want to talk about the site set definition in Dreamweaver. When we're working in Dreamweaver, before you start creating anything, you want to designate a location and a structure, a hierarchical structure that contains all of your HTML pages and everything in an organized way. So what you're going to be doing is you've got to create a root location for your projects. The folder that you create is going to contain everything inside of it, all your websites that you develop. So for instance, if you were to look at mine here, we have a site manager window under manage sites. I have a couple different sites that I have designated, and that contains my documents site is a site that I keep locally on my computer. My book site is a copy of that I keep on a hard drive that is my backup, so I could actually pull up either one of those depending on where I am, and I can look at all the files inside of them. So if I was to look at that, this is what it would end up looking like. My document site, I can pull up here and choose which one I want. I'm looking at my documents, and I can see that in my documents, I have this in my documents folder on my computer, and I have it within a folder set up for my websites. Well, each one of these folders contains all of the files, HTML files, that I use in my classes. So in this particular class, my CIS, I have all the schedules and the pages and the projects and everything all organized according to these folders. So every one of my classes, I have all that in there. And it's organized according to my site definition. So you're going to want to create a site definition first before you really get started. And the way you do that is that you want to first create a folder on your on your computer somewhere, wherever that is, and you want to give it a name of some sort. So if I went down to my my documents, and I created, so for example, I created a main directory. I'm going to call it my main website folder. All right, I'm just using that as an example. Inside my main website folder is where everything I'm going to be doing is going to be in that particular case. Everything's going to be inside of that. Okay? So I have a place where I can put my website definition now. So I go up to my site and I'm going to say manage sites, or I could just say new site because I'm starting a new site. I can go here and I can call this, you want to name it what it is, so my websites. So my websites, and you might even say where it's going to be located if you want, if you're going to have multiple files so that you can choose it. So my websites, my documents, so I know that it's in my documents. If I made another one that I wanted to have on something else, I might call it something else, but just so you get the idea. Then I choose the folder where it's going to be, which is in my documents folder, and I called it my main website folder. So that's where I want this to go. So I've selected that folder, and I'm going to say save. Now nothing earth-shattering has really happened. You're not going to see a lot of changes, but Dreamweaver has remembered where this is. So now if I was to come to my websites from scratch, let's say I come and I start working from scratch, before I start doing anything, I need to designate I need to manage the sites that I'm going to be working from. So my documents website, okay? So if I do that, I guess I named it similar to the one I already had. So if I do that and I choose that, and I say done, it's going to pull into there all of the files and folders that I have created or that I will be creating. So for instance, over here in my files management, I have the ability to choose different sites. So if I go to, say, my document site, this is the one I just created. There's nothing in it yet, but the one that's similarly named has stuff in it. So this is where I can see all of the hierarchy and the organization of that particular site. Now I'm going to go back to the one that has nothing in it, and that has been memorized right there, okay? If I know I'm going to be taking this website around with me, let's say I'm working in the lab here and I'm going to put it on a USB and I'm going to take it home with me and work on it there, and I got to port it back and forth. I need to put a little document inside of it that I can then import to whatever Dreamweaver I'm using, and it will, when I copy that file to the local web desktop or wherever I put it on that computer, I can import the information back and forth, okay? And so what I have to do is I'm going to go to my site manager, site, manage sites, choosing my documents websites site that I just created. And if I go here to this little icon that says export the currently selected site, I'm going to choose that. And it wants to know, well, where are you going to put this site definition? Where do you want to put that? So I'm going to go into my documents folder, into the my main websites folder. And that's where I want to store it. So I'm going to say save. So into that folder is where this site definition information is. So I'm going to say done. And I'm going to go to that folder. And if I look in that folder, there is that document, that little piece of information that I just created. So what that means is that if I copy this folder here, and if I copy this folder and I put it on my USB, and then I take it off my USB and put it on a new computer, one that I want to work from, I can import that little piece of information there is going to be used by Dreamweaver to recreate your file structure so that it understands your organization for that particular website. And so it's going to be very, very handy. So let's create a document to put in there just to test out something. So I'm using my websites here. I'm going to make sure I'm going into the right folder, my documents website. And here's my STE file inside of that already. So I know that I'm working from that file. I'm going to say file, I'm going to say new, and I'm going to write an HTML file, and I'm going to create an HTML5 document. Okay? And I'm going to say create. So what it's going to do is it's going to create this new document. Notice that it automatically gives me my doc type, it automatically gives me my HTML elements, and it gives me a title that I can change, and I'll just change that real fast. Test page. And then I'm going to say, I'm going to save this. Save, and it should put it into my main websites folder already. So I'm going to call this, my file name is going to be test page, and it's going to be a .html file, an HTML document, and I'm going to hit save, and now I can see that that HTML page is right here in my folder. Okay. If I wanted to create another page, I just keep adding to it. So now I have a document in my page on my page, and this is what it looks like. All right. So once I have that, I can begin building my content. So if I was finished, let's say I've worked on my site for a long time, okay, and I was done, I've got everything saved, and I'm finished, I'm going to close this. And so now let's say that I'm going to copy this to my USB because I want to go home and I want to work on it at home now. So I've been in the lab, or I'm in the lab and I'm working and I want to go home and I want to work on it there, or vice versa. So I'll go to my folder where I'm containing that, my documents, my main website folder, and I'm going to copy that. Well, I'm going to make, obviously that content is in there. There's my test page, there's my site definition. I'm going to copy that. Okay. I'm going to put it on my removable storage device, wherever it is. Remember, paste it in there. And then when I get home, so I'm going to close that out. And so when I get home, my computer, if it's never been there before, if I've got to the lab and I'm working on a brand new computer, then I want to basically copy that onto that computer's into a storage, a local storage, so either on the desktop or in its documents folder. But I have to simulate the fact that the computer won't recognize it at all. So what I'm going to do is, I have to do this here as an example. I'm going to delete that website definition. Now it doesn't delete the content or anything like that. It's just making it so that After Effects or Dreamweaver doesn't recognize that anymore. So now it only has these files to work with. So let's pretend I get home and I'm opening up Dreamweaver. What I need to do is copy then my document that I just put on my USB. So I'll plug in my USB, I'll go to my removable site, I'll take my main website folder, I'll copy that, and I'll paste it wherever I want to be working from. If you're in the lab, you may just paste it to the desktop. Okay, now when I go to Dreamweaver, I open it up, and I'm going to go to Manage Sites. There won't be a definition there for me. So what I have to do is import my definition. So I'm going to say Import Site. I'm going to go to my desktop, wherever that is. I got to look for that file. Okay, my main website folder. I'm going to go in, choose my .ste, and say Open. And that's the one I'm going to choose. I'm going to say Done. And then over here, it pulls up the information. I can always hit refresh if I need to. When I twirl it down, there's my content that I want to be working with. And now I can work from here. And as long as that local that computer, if that is your home computer, from now on when you go there, it'll recognize it. But if you're in the labs in school, that gets wiped daily, so you'll have to just import that information every time. So that's the idea of using your local server, your local computer's memory, so you have a site definition, and then having a portable one, so that you can move from one device to another. But you gotta have that .ste file in your in the main root folder that you're going to be working with. All right, so I hope that helps you, and that's something that you'll be using quite regularly.